Most people grew up being told the same thing. Drink your milk. It builds strong bones. It gives you the calcium your body needs. And for decades, that message was repeated so often that a lot of us never thought to question it. But here's what's interesting. There are plants growing right in gardens and on grocery shelves that actually contain more calcium per serving than a glass of milk. And most people have never heard about them. This isn't about telling you to stop drinking milk. It's about showing you that nature has packed calcium into some surprising places. If you're someone who's lactose intolerant, plant-based, or just looking to get more nutrients from your food, you'll want to stick around. Because some of these plants are incredibly easy to grow, incredibly affordable, and incredibly good for your bones, muscles, and overall health. We're going to go through 20 of them today, and a few near the end might genuinely surprise you. 1. Stinging nettle. This one sounds scary, but don't let the name fool you. Stinging nettle is one of the most calcium-rich plants you can grow. A single cup of cooked nettle contains roughly 430 milligrams of calcium. That's nearly half the daily recommended amount for most adults, and it's significantly more than what you'd find in a glass of whole milk. Amaranth leaves. Amaranth is often grown for its seeds, but the leaves deserve far more attention. The greens are genuinely impressive nutritionally. 1 cup of cooked amaranth leaves contains around 280 milligrams of calcium, and they're also loaded with protein, folate, and vitamins A and C. Green. Collard greens are one of the most well-known calcium-rich vegetables, and they've earned their reputation. 1 cup of cooked collards contains around 268 milligrams of calcium. What's particularly interesting is that the calcium in collard greens is considered highly absorbable by the body. Some research suggests it may even be absorbed more efficiently than the calcium in milk. 4. Choy. Here's one that's become much more popular in recent years, and for good reason. Bok choy is a type of Chinese cabbage that's mild, crunchy, and surprisingly rich in calcium. 1 cooked cup contains around 160 milligrams, and because bok choy is naturally low in oxalates, compounds that can block calcium absorption, the body tends to absorb a higher percentage of what's there. 5. Kale. Kale became incredibly trendy for a while, and while trends come and go, the nutritional profile here is real. 1 cooked cup of kale contains approximately 177 milligrams of calcium. Like bok choy, kale has low oxalate levels, which means the body can absorb a good portion of that calcium. Now, turnip greens. A lot of people throw away the best part of the turnip. The greens are actually more nutritious than the root, and they're particularly impressive when it comes to calcium. 1 cooked cup of turnip greens delivers approximately 19.7 milligrams of calcium. They're also rich in vitamins K and A, along with folate and fiber. Quick question, how many of these plants are already growing in your garden? Drop your answer in the comments. I'd love to know. Wishes. Mustard greens. Mustard greens are another leafy vegetable that doesn't get nearly enough credit. 1 cooked cup contains around 165 milligrams of calcium. They're also a strong source of vitamins K and C, along with folate and a range of antioxidant compounds. Broccoli. Broccoli is one of those vegetables that people know is good for them, but they might not realize it's also a meaningful source of calcium. 1 cooked cup provides around 62 milligrams, which sounds modest, but the bioavailability, meaning how much the body can actually use, is quite high. Studies have found that the calcium in broccoli is absorbed at a rate that compares very favorably to dairy. 9. Watercress. Watercress is one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet by weight. 1 cup of raw watercress contains about 41 milligrams of calcium, but because it's typically eaten in larger quantities and has high bioavailability, it adds up. It's also packed with vitamins K, A, and C, along with compounds called isothiocyanates that some researchers associate with cellular health support. Dandelion greens. Most gardeners spend time trying to get rid of these, not realizing they're pulling out something genuinely nutritious. Dandelion greens contain around 10 to 3 milligrams of calcium per cooked cup. They're also rich in vitamins A, K, and C, along with potassium and iron. 11. Okra doesn't get enough attention in nutrition conversations. 1 cooked cup of okra delivers around 104 milligrams of calcium. It's also a solid source of magnesium, folate, vitamin K, and vitamin C. Magnesium works closely with calcium in the body. They're essentially partners in supporting bone density and muscle function. Arugula. Arugula is often thought of as just a salad green, but it's actually a decent source of calcium. 1 cup of raw arugula contains about 32 milligrams, and because people often eat several cups in a sitting and its oxalate levels are low, it contributes meaningfully to daily intake. Cooked arugula concentrates those numbers further. 13. Swiss chard is beautiful to look at. Those bright red, orange, and yellow stems make it one of the most visually striking things you can grow. And it's nutritious too. 1 cooked cup of chard provides around 102 milligrams of calcium, along with generous amounts of vitamins K, A, and C, plus magnesium and potassium. One thing worth knowing is that chard does contain oxalates, which can slightly limit calcium absorption. Cooking reduces oxalate levels significantly, so lightly sautéed or steamed chard is a better choice than raw if you're specifically focused on getting the most calcium from it. In the kitchen, chard is versatile. It works in pastas, egg dishes, soups, and simply cooked in a pan with olive oil and garlic. The stems take a little longer to cook than the leaves, so adding them to the pan first makes a difference. Chard is also one of the most rewarding garden plants. It tolerates heat, cold, and doesn't bolt as quickly as many other leafy greens. Moringa. Moringa is sometimes called a superfood, though that word gets overused. What's true is that it's nutritionally remarkable. The dried leaves of moringa contain extremely high concentrations of calcium. Some sources report as much as 17 times the calcium content of milk by weight. Even fresh moringa leaves contain impressive amounts, along with iron, vitamin C, and protein. Moringa is widely consumed in South Asia, Africa, and parts of Latin America, where the leaves, pods, and seeds are used in everyday cooking. The flavor is mildly earthy and slightly bitter, similar to spinach. In Western kitchens, moringa powder is increasingly available and can be stirred into smoothies, soups, or sauces. Moringa trees grow extremely fast in warm climates. In the right conditions, they can grow several feet in a single season. In cooler regions, they can be grown in containers and overwintered indoors. Sesame seeds and tahini. Sesame seeds deserve a special mention because they're one of the most concentrated plant sources of calcium you can find. Just 2 tablespoons of whole sesame seeds contain around 175 milligrams of calcium. Tahini, which is made from ground sesame seeds, contains roughly 64 milligrams per 2 tablespoons. Sesame seeds are also rich in zinc, magnesium, and copper, all of which play a role in bone health. The key is eating whole sesame seeds or unhulled varieties, since the hull is where much of the calcium is concentrated. Hulled sesame seeds have noticeably less. Tahini works brilliantly in dressings, sauces, hummus, and drizzled over roasted vegetables. Sesame plants can actually be grown at home in warm climates. They produce beautiful flowers and then seed heads that are harvested and dried. It's not the most common garden crop in cooler regions, but it's absolutely possible. The last few plants on this list surprised even me when I started researching them. Don't miss these. Edamame and soybeans. Edamame. Those young green soybeans, often served as an appetizer, are genuinely impressive nutritionally. 1 cooked cup contains around 97 milligrams of calcium. They're also an excellent source of complete plant protein, meaning they contain all essential amino acids, along with iron, folate, and vitamin K. Soybeans more broadly have been one of the most studied foods in nutrition science. They contain isoflavones, compounds that some research links to bone health support, particularly in women after menopause. Edamame has a mild, slightly sweet flavor and works well as a snack, in salads, stir-fries, or blended into dips. Growing soybeans at home is entirely feasible. They're a warm season crop, planted after the last frost, and mature in around 80 to 90 days depending on the variety. They're actually easier to grow than many people expect. 17. Figs. Figs are one of those foods that feel indulgent but are actually genuinely nutritious. 5 dried figs contain approximately 135 milligrams of calcium, more than what you'd find in many dairy servings. Fresh figs have a somewhat lower concentration by weight, but they're still a meaningful contributor. Figs are also rich in potassium, magnesium, and fiber. They have a naturally sweet, honey-like flavor that works in both sweet and savory applications. Fresh figs with cheese and honey, or dried figs in grain dishes and stews, are both classics. Fig trees are actually one of the most rewarding fruit trees a home gardener can grow. They're surprisingly hardy, can be grown in containers, and produce generously once established. A mature fig tree requires very little maintenance and can live for decades. So, white beans. White beans, including cannellini beans and navy beans, are one of the most underrated calcium sources in the plant world. One cooked cup of white beans contains around 130 milligrams of calcium. They're also an excellent source of plant protein, fiber, and iron. White beans have a creamy, mild flavor that absorbs surrounding flavors beautifully, making them one of the most versatile legumes in cooking. They work in soups, stews, pasta dishes, mashed as a side, or blended into dips. In Italian cooking, white beans appear constantly. Paired with olive oil, garlic, and fresh herbs, they become something simple but genuinely delicious. While beans aren't technically a garden plant the way greens are, they're absolutely growable at home. Bush varieties of beans are easy to manage, don't require staking, and produce a solid harvest in about 60 to 70 days. 19. Chia seeds have had a big moment in wellness culture, but the attention is actually warranted from a nutritional standpoint. 2 tablespoons of chia seeds contain approximately 180 milligrams of calcium. That's notable for something you sprinkle over a bowl of oats. Chia seeds are also rich in omega-3 fatty acids, fiber, magnesium, and phosphorus. The combination of calcium with magnesium is interesting because these 2 minerals work together in the body, supporting both bone density and muscle function. Chia seeds absorb liquid and form a gel-like texture, which is why they're popular in puddings, smoothies, and as an egg substitute in baking. The flavor is neutral, which makes them incredibly easy to incorporate into everyday meals. Chia plants can actually be grown at home in warm, frost-free climates. They're related to sage and produce lovely purple flowers before setting seed. Blackstrap molasses. This one tends to genuinely surprise people. Blackstrap molasses is the thick, dark syrup left over after sugar has been extracted from sugarcane, and it contains a remarkable concentration of minerals. 1 tablespoon of blackstrap molasses provides approximately 200 milligrams of calcium. It's also one of the richest plant-based sources of iron and contains significant amounts of potassium and magnesium. Unlike regular molasses, blackstrap is intensely bitter and robust in flavor. It's not something most people eat by the spoonful, but stirred into oatmeal, baked goods, marinades, or even smoothies in small amounts, it adds deep flavor and a serious nutritional boost. It's not a garden plant, of course, but it belongs on this list because of just how concentrated its calcium content is and how few people know about it. A single tablespoon packs more calcium than a standard glass of milk. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.